paper magic will survive like the heat death of the universe, and will...
Oh, it's a smuggler's copter. Would you like to crew this? And then it crashes because they don't understand arithmetic.
All your cards belong to me.
2 minutes into macing him in the eyeballs, I switched to pepper spray. He's like, it's all right, refreshing. And went back to the mace.
Magic is dying. I'm done. Selling everything.
I might be a hoarder. And yes,
I don't have the crayons or glue to explain this to you right now.
What, are you gonna die twice?
Oil will be worthless before magic cards will.
Well, okay, Dr. Man.
That's Mr. Dr. Professor Jason.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Brainstorm Brewery, the home of, you know it, the biggest fan of the Kansas City Chiefs. Super Bowl Alphabet Soup Champions.
I didn't see you
really
wear that
excited to-
hat a single time this weekend.
I was really excited to hear you try and read those Roman numerals.
I think it's 50-something. What do we got here? We got, because keep in mind, we do this for the Magic World Championship, too. LVII. I believe that is 57. For the record.
Wait, isn't the L before the V? You know, never mind. I don't know. Not gonna.
Yeah, the L is the
Not gonna
50,
tempt
the
fate
5
here.
is the V is the 5, and then I got this. Kansas City Champions, baby. You know what? I'm the Patrick Mahomes of Pro Tour coverage.
Corbin, that's a basketball player, you idiot.
Oh, well, that's good. He's really good, though. Like me, on Pro Tour coverage.
Patrick Mahomes never took the ball away from Blake Griffin.
So
Just saying.
for people wondering why Corbin has audibled to a new favorite team, I got an idea from one of my friends, and
I'm a
passed it
lifelong
along-
fan.
and passed it along to Corbin. I asked Corbin, my buddy, my friend, my pal, Mr. Hostler, how much money would it take for you to wear a Kansas City Chiefs hat in the city of Philadelphia the entire weekend, no taking it off, in the home base, the secret lair of the Eagles?
I wore
No-
an Eagles colored tracksuit, and then I considered wearing it 2 days in a row because I realized the other one I brought was Chiefs colors.
Yeah, that was a big unforced error, but at least you didn't pay the price out in public.
Yeah, no one cared.
Yeah,
They saw the tracksuit
honestly,
and figured it was
wasn't that bad.
connected. I looked like John Malkovich in Rounders.
Yeah,
I
and
was-
spent the entire weekend talking like John Malkovich and Rounders.
The entire weekend? No.
Every time I saw
The
you.
entire
How about
cube
that?
draft that Slick was trying to record in the suite at the Four Seasons, yeah. But it wasn't
Yeah,
just
that
me.
was
It was
something.
me and Revised List Bros. Both did it. It was great.
Who
I was
won?
really hoping Corbin would just get like an egg thrown at him at least once. Like
No.
I'm
No batteries.
suspicious of how much you actually wore that hat in places where it could have been detrimental to your health.
I wore it walking to the convention center in the morning, and I wore it on site when I wasn't actively working. And then I wore it.
When was
into the
that?
main
Because you came
convention hall.
downstairs to talk to me and you were not wearing it.
I literally was.
I don't remember that. I would have.
This hat's amazing. So DJ, what did we do with this? Look, my price, by the way, I'm not free, but I am cheap. It was $50 and a free hat.
Do people
Got the
believe
free
you
hat.
just because you contradict? Because I feel like every time somebody contradicts me, that people believe them. I think they got that from Reddit. Because someone will make a Reddit post and the top post is always, nuh-uh. And everyone's like, oh, I believe this guy because he said nuh-uh.
It's true. I did
Hey,
that
vinyl
the other
chloride's
day.
fine. I'm a chemist. Oh, well, this
Yeah.
guy's a chemist. Well, okay.
Somebody-
I guess vinyl
somebody said
chloride's
something-
good for you, actually.
Somebody said something in the Magic subreddit the other day, and I was just like, actually, this isn't super accurate, and here's why. And then I got a million upvotes.
Well, I get a
You're
million
right.
downvotes when I do
There's
that, so...
No reason to listen to me.
No reason to listen to the internet. Like, everybody's dumb.
Corbin's just likable, I guess. But and that, I guess that speaks to why he didn't get any batteries thrown at his temple.
He
don't
wasn't
want him to
dressed as Santa
die.
Claus, so that's why.
Yeah, that's true.
Philadelphia can
It's
say
the
whatever it
cheer.
wants. There was a robot that hitchhiked around the world until it got to Philadelphia. And then the people of
Wait,
the
what-
city of brotherly love stomped this hitchhiking robot into batteries that they could throw at a Santa Claus.
Is that the plot of iRobot? I don't remember that. Is it?
iRobot?
I think that's the Wall-E sequel.
That's a Wally.
Is that the only robot movie you can name because it has robot in the title? Name 5 other
I,
movies
Robot?
about robots, real quick. Go.
5 movies about robots?
Yeah, quick, go.
I, Robot.
What's the
The
one
Ma-
with the what's
The
what's one with
Matrix. The
Iron
Matrix
Giant?
Revolutions.
Iron Giant?
The Matrix Reloaded. The Matrix. The new one.
All right, so Corbin's Rocky 1 through 5ing this, but I'm actually trying to come up with like, I was like, man, do any of the Star Wars movies count? Like
Terminator.
Terminator's about a robot.
Yeah.
So is RoboCop, Millennium Man, Ex Machina, Iron Giant, DJ got. Corbin couldn't name 5.
I did. Easily. If they make some more Will Smith movies with robots, I can name 10.
How many Will Smith movies? Do you think you've seen everything Will Smith did?
No, I didn't see the sad ones.
The sad ones? Like the
I've
one
never
where he
seen the
kills
first-
himself with a jellyfish?
I've never seen The Pursuit of Happiness.
The one where he sleeps in a bathroom with a jellyfish?
what about the superhero one?
That one
Suicide
was
Squad?
actually good. Hancock was
Suicide
good. That was legitimately a
Hancock.
good movie.
I've seen that movie, yes.
Will Smith
That's like
sucks,
right up
but
my
that
alley.
movie's good. Yeah, Will Smith
I Am
blows.
Legend.
Oh, I love I Am Legend. That's a great movie.
They're
But
doing
that's
a
a sad one.
He kills his
That is a
sequel.
sad one. You're right, though.
They're doing
Yeah.
a sequel to that movie.
That doesn't make any sense at all. Didn't they cure it?
No, the person just got away with the blood. They're going to say that the original ending that they didn't shoot is canon, so it's like a reboot more than a sequel.
Wait, what? Well, what was the original ending?
The original ending that was in the theater was like he just blows himself up with a grenade and sacrifices himself. The ending they wrote was that he realized that I Am Legend means he was the because he was the one kidnapping them and like doing experiments on
Right.
them.
Yes. Yeah.
Like he was the boogeyman. They had to hide from him. Like they knew he wouldn't come out at night, but during the day they had to hide from him. And he still like captured a bunch of them and did experiments on them. So like that was the point of the book. And they shot that ending and audiences like, I didn't get it. So they're like, all right, they didn't get it.
So then he goes to a little camp or something, like how they all win.
Yeah, the gates of the safe house open, and everyone goes into the Mirren safe house, and then Phyrexia lives happily ever after or something. Like, we did it.
We got a Black Omnath. I want to talk about that for the next hour.
That card is cool, and I'm pretty excited by
It's
the look.
fucking
It
bad, but I'm
MagicCon-
still going to build the deck. It's such a bad card.
Yeah, so MagicCon gave us all of these March of the Machine previews and kind of lore drops, and I gotta say, they kind of hooked me. It's kind of cool watching the, like, I don't know what I thought March of the Machines meant per se, but it literally means the machines are marching all over the multiverse, and like they're just destroying and attacking
There's
every
a
world. And
card
you get to see them all
called
get
March of
wrecked.
the Machines that turns artifacts into creatures, but the Phyrexians are turning creatures into artifacts. So March of the Machines is
true.
the exact wrong name to use for this set.
It's ironic. It's ironic the card is now.
Well, as long as they get to use the Marvel Avengers font, that's all that matters.
Well, that was why everyone thought this was going to be the actual plot of Endgame, where Teferi goes back and undoes it all, which, to be fair, might be happening. But I don't know. I just kind of
If they do I'm
assumed
gonna
that that's
be
what was happening.
Ooh.
yeah, I'll be furious if like there's no consequences for Jace or all them being completed. If there's no repercussion for that, I will be furious.
I saw somebody on Twitter share some kind of thing where, like, back in the day, Urza built 9 constructs or something that had to be manned by planeswalkers to then fight against the Phyrexians. And it basically sounded like, as they put it, a Power Rangers
Yeah,
sort
it
of
was
thing.
neon. It was neon. Whatever it's called, Evangelion. It was
Sure.
like the giant mech anime.
And all I could think of, this could have been our Netflix show.
Yeah.
We could have had a Power Rangers Magic Netflix show with Karn and all the planeswalkers. It would have been incredible.
We could have had Arcane. You don't need to know about Magic or about
Yeah, we
League.
could have had that. Yeah. That's like asking way too much. You know it is.
Just make a
I can't
good.
even-
Just make a good thing out of a good IP. Like The Last of Us showed, like it's always been just so easy to take something good and just don't change it. Like The Last of Us is why The Last Man should have been, but they're like, what if we made the best comic book ever really shitty though? And
What
like,
is-
I
that?
think that
Well,
just speaks to like
I'd be sad.
the cowardice or whatever you want, like just the risk averseness of the Hasbro lawyers. It's the same reason the reserved list exists, right? Like they're just the status quo is so important to them. I think.
I don't know. Not on the D&D side when it comes to the old legal documents.
But they reversed themselves because they went, oh,
the boycott right when we're about to release the Dungeons and Dragons movie. Maybe this is a bad idea.
maybe having somebody whose last two jobs were Amazon and Microsoft be your CEO is a bad idea.
So yeah, think about
maybe
it. Maybe
people with MBAs shouldn't make all of our decisions. All of them. Hey, should we do another RoboCop movie? I don't know. Let's ask a guy with a MBA. That's so good to me. Oh, okay, thanks, guy with an MBA. Cool.
Okay, so I don't want to pile too hard onto Wizards, but I do want to give them some constructive feedback that I heard from Philly and from what I experienced in the event. So if we're using Vegas as a direct comparison as what these events are going to be going forward, Vegas, we were buying all 9 hours that the hall was open. It was 10 to 7, 3 days, so it was 27 hours of buying Magic cards, just nonstop. We had an hour, 2 hour line at all points of that day, and that was it. We spent so much money, and I think all the vendors did reasonably well, if not just as good as us. And that was it. There were a lot of logistical issues I heard from the consumer side about Vegas, about how events were structured, about how judges were set up, or just tables, free play, all that stuff. I get it. Philly changed some of these things. From what I've heard, like a lot of the events were more well run. Everything was more well oiled. Haha, from all perspectives on that front.
Okay, nice.
A little bit, but they still wouldn't let you buy ad hoc command zone access ever. That's such
and
a
yet, yeah,
misplay.
but here's a dirty little secret: they weren't enforcing the command zone border.
So that was one of the things
I figured that out on Sunday and snuck in, but like, I'll pay. I'm not a cheapskate. Just let me pay. I got a free badge, and they gave me no option to upgrade anything.
There were a lot of complaints about security and just like how things were handled on that front with like the COVID restrictions, masks, etc.
Oh, there was just a person at the line or at the door with a bunch of masks that said, "Put a mask on," and guys like, "Mine's inside," and they're like, "All right." Like they didn't.
Not enforced.
It's Pennsylvania. They don't give it like.
I'm
glad they're enforcing shoes and shirts. That's a big step for Pennsylvania, but
it is a Wizards rule for the mask policy, but it is not a Reed Pop or Philadelphia Convention Center rule. Is the thing there, and so Reed Pop just sort of decided to not listen to Wizards on that one, which is, yeah. I mean, there was also a lot of just creators who I saw. There were a lot of people at that event who I thought, oh, I know that person, and I can tell who they are because they're not wearing a mask. And there's somebody who has spoken about mask use in the past couple years, and they're not wearing one. So that was interesting.
It's
but I think my main complaint with the event, and I think the event was good overall. It was not the worst event ever, as I've seen a couple people say. But the fragmentation of the convention center and the use of space was probably my biggest concern. I am biased from that perspective because I'm a vendor and I want people to all be near our booth so we can spend and get money. That is what
it was an L-shaped hall, and it was kind of hard to.
And then there were approximately like 5 other rooms where things were going on that were very much down another hall. The Pro Tour was not.
I had a couple people ask me like, "Oh, hey, after I'm done selling cards, how do I get to this?" And I was just, I don't know, man. Normally, it's at least in the same room, and I can point to a direction in that room. But like you had to hitchhike to get to the Pro Tour.
Oh, in Vegas, there was another building. Like you exit the building and go to another building. It wasn't quite that bad here.
Yeah, that's true. So. I don't know. I mean, like DJ said, they wanted people to think they rented out the whole convention center, but they did rent out a sizable chunk of it. But honestly, that was, I'm not going to say part of the problem because it wasn't, but Vegas did feel, despite being smaller square footage total, felt more, impressive.
Full. It felt full.
Yeah. Because you could see from one end to the other. They hid half of the event behind the partition that the stage was on.
Yeah.
So, like, you just, it felt small because it looked small. They hid half the room from the other half of the room.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I didn't even realize. But hey, the cool thing for me is the Pro Tour went great. I had a lot of responsibility.
There was a Pro
I was
Tour?
responsible. I'll kill you.
Why didn't you?
I'll kill you.
Why didn't you tweet about it?
Well, there was a Pro Tour. It went awesome. Reed Duke won, which is great.
Hey, tweet at Corbin and ask him if there was a Pro Tour.
Okay, I will block you. I will block you.
No, he won't.
Okay?
He won't block you.
I probably will.
He's
I
never
do think
blocked
that
anybody.
I'm not one for competitive Magic, but from the driplets that I heard about how the event went, there was a storybook ending to it, just like the last big competitive
It was
event. Like
it was
Vegas,
fixed. They
Like
wanted
Vegas
Reed
has
Duke to
to-
win, so they made the format.
Huey
where he-
Jensen takes over organized play. Reed Duke
Yeah.
wins the Pro Tour.
Yeah, and they made it the event, so he had to play against a bunch of other people, and he said that gave
Yeah,
him
but
a competitive
listen,
advantage.
somebody put that on Twitter, and I want to get this right. The Reed Duke response is priceless. He says, the tournament structure, where we played a bunch of rounds of Magic the Gathering, gave me a big advantage over the rest of the field. And I think that's the closest Reed Duke has ever come to talking shit in his life, and I loved it.
His power derives from cutting his own hair.
It's like when Ristic Studies just occasionally drops the F-bomb when I'm like next to him and I hear thunderclouds in the distance.
Yeah.
It was just great to be back. I'll say that. Everyone was excited to be there. The top 8 was a mix of first time people at the Pro Tour as well as like Hall of Fame people. So I don't know. Pro Tour's back. It's alive and well. I barely got to see the rest of the convention, but I'm told it existed.
Well, I'm kind of the same on the opposite end. Like we
Yeah.
both saw our own aspects of the convention, and speaking of the Pro Tour, one of the biggest parts of it this time was that they went really hard on convention exclusive cards. They gave away a lot of stuff that you could only get by being at this convention or through the secondary market. And I think that's great for the game overall. I love just very specific, like, be here or be square, get this thing, or spend X $100 on it later. Call it FOMO, call it baiting people, whatever you want. But, like, I think it's good for just getting people interested in the game and just having people be able to hunt down a playset of a card that there's one playset. Like, by the end of this year, there will be a playset of that Brainstorm. There was a Secret Lair event that was $150 to enter. The winner got a Brainstorm. That there's one of one right now. Just one copy exists. Like, straight up 1996 Yu-Gi-Oh! Style. There's only 3 blue eyes. Like, there's one of this Brainstorm, and that's super cool. It does make it very interesting from a vendor perspective, though.
Well, there was a lot. Yeah, like you mentioned, they went deep on the exclusives. There were the exclusive Ragavans. Then if you did well in that event or whatever, you then got to play in the event where you could win the Brainstorm. So that was all like, yeah, that's all pretty interesting. But on top of that, the Pro Tour competitors got Jaces. And then the top 32 PT competitors got foil Jaces. And the prices from this stuff was all over the place on the weekend. But by the end of it, they were everything that was convention exclusive was expensive.
Yes. So there's a funny story that historically happened a long time ago at a vendor booth. Are you ready for story time, guys?
Okay, I guess.
It relates to modern day situations with these cards. So, like, once upon a time, in GP land, there was a really cool transaction that happened at a buy table in like 2014. And this transaction happened. The buyer was really excited. He turned around to this friend on the other side of the booth. He said, "Holy crap, you'll never believe what I bought. I just bought 4 Tabernacle the Veils from the same person. A playset of Tabernacles. Can you believe that?" And his friend turns around and says, "Wow, you'll never guess what I got. I also just bought 4 Tabernacle the Pendril Veil from one person." And the moral of that story is that when it comes to very specific high-end cards like that, that communication is really, really key in like the buying industry, and buyers need to be able to talk to each other because, of course, one vendor does not probably doesn't want 8 Tabernacles, right?
I mean, I don't know the answer to that question.
That's a lot of money to tie up in a very specific card. And so, like, when it comes to these kinds of serial cards, you don't want to have 5 different buyers all saying the same number on that foil Jace, and then 5 of those buyers buying those Jaces all at the same number, and now you're suddenly overstocked on this card that is a very weird flash in the pan kind of like you want to buy it and then sell it and own a very specific number on social media throughout the weekend.
Interesting. So do you think you bring up Tabernacle, but like that's just an example, but do you sell cards often like that? If you were to buy 8 Tabernacles on Friday of an event like this, how many of them would you expect to have by the time you leave on Sunday?
Maybe 7, maybe 6. I mean, it is a card that goes out of the booth. Like you want HP Tabernacles because those are the kinds that players can trade up to. You want like the HP Italian one that somebody's like, I think I can get my binder to do that. You don't want 8 near mint Tabernacles. That is a nightmare that you want to liquidate. But when it comes to these specific cards, these Ragavans, these foil Jaces, I mean, like, somebody walked up to us on Sunday and they're like, I got a foil Jace. What are you paying for it? And then we said $5,000 and the person just doubled their Pro Tour payout. Like that's a very efficient, I guess is the best way to put it. That's a very efficient way for Wizards to add some more money to the pot.
For sure. And that was, I'm gonna throw this out there. How do you feel about the idea of these cards they're giving out, maybe at the PT, being slabbed? Or the Ragavan, the Brainstorm, pre-graded and slabbed. Guaranteed
pre-graded?
Graded 9 or higher by Wizards at the time. Not like Wizards has the graded card that they give out. Instead of handing out a Ragavan or whatever, you get a Ragavan in a sleeve that's been graded.
I don't think I like that.
That's what LSS does with Flesh and Blood for their highest end. They do the same thing where it's easy to juice the pot with non-cash by doing extremely exclusive cards. And then, your player wins an event and they make whatever they make, but then they make 3 times that selling the ultra special promo. So they just took the next step and they started slabbing them. And there's a big culture in Flesh and Blood of slabbing the cards anyway, because a lot of them you just keep in play and it's the same for all your decks. So
yeah, I can see how
but that's just an idea. Yeah.
Well, I can see how it works in that game because, again, like you said, you don't sleeve them and they don't go in your deck normally. It's like playing an extra deck card in Yu-Gi-Oh! Or something like that.
Yeah.
I have a deck that I'm working on now that is the factory sealed only monstrosity that a lot of people on Twitter saw or at the event. And I've picked up a lot of cool things for it recently, but last week I found a slabbed 30th anniversary Japanese promo Shivan Dragon that is a gold label 10 on TCG Player.
That's
and
cool.
So, I mean, I can empathize with wanting to have a cool slabbed thing that you can still have utility from, but I don't think that Ragavan and Jace are in that category of card because I don't think those are things that spark joy from a collector standpoint.
They're what people want to play.
Yeah, I think there's a lot more Magic players who are okay with, I have a $5,000 playset of Ragavans and that makes my legacy deck the coolest thing ever.
Yeah.
Like, you want to slab Lotuses, you want to slab full sets of like 9.9 or higher legends or whatever, or antiquities, but like, I do not see these Pro Tour promos having that same spark. Maybe if they were like dedicated to specific players, I could maybe see that, where it's like you get your Jace a month after the event and it's engraved and it says like Reed Duke winner of Pro Tour Philadelphia or whatever on the card. Like they did those with the Worm Coil engines for game day. That's cool. But like slabbing the Pro Tour promos as they are now, I don't think that the person who wants to hunt that Brainstorm playmat would want to have to crack open their cards.
Yeah, I agree with you for what it's worth, I think, especially with the cards they've targeted. But it's neat. I mean, like you said, this is if they're like, oh, this is such a good idea. This is cool of them to do. This is how judging used to work.
Yeah, you're subsidizing. It's a very clever way to subsidize payments that way.
There's the whole. This is some Magic history, but for the longest time, 20 years, Magic judges were not paid well. They tended to get a lot of product, and they get a judge promo packet, and then immediately turn around and flip those judge promos for like $300 to $500, and they cover their weekend plus some. Plus, then they would get a couple boxes, right? So that used to be the compensation package. And then there was this little old lawsuit that Might have started us on the road to GPs becoming insolvent.
Yeah, and I mean, like they still do that now. We still get, as a vendor, we still get just, it's very clear when a judge is selling their judge promos,
Yeah.
and we can't offer a good number on them anymore because the kind of card they choose for that and the distribution model just isn't sustainable for us to pay a good number on that card because of how often they sit on TCG Player. I mean,
Yeah,
Parallel Lives is a great example of this. Like, TCG is maybe like $50 or $60 in that card, and like the normal Innistrad one is close to the same. And so people are looking at it, even if TCG is listed higher on the Judge one, like they want this big premium because it's a Judge promo, and we can't give it to them. And then they're either sad or they get a paycheck that's much smaller than they expected, and it's.
Well, yeah, and I mean, on the subject of Judge promos or promo cards in general, there was a time when Judge promos were some of the only ways to get fancy versions
Yes.
of cards, much less old cards, right? Remember
And
when
old
that
border cards, like you would
Yeah.
get a Judge foil, and it's the old border version of that card, like a Noble Hierarch or a Dark Confidant or something like that.
Yeah,
and
remember
now-
the Phyrexian Elishnorn? I don't know what that card's worth today, but that card was worth many hundreds of dollars because it was so cool. Oh my god! And now and whatever, right? But now you can open up a collector booster and get 4 different variants in one pack of new Elishnorn or whatever.
Or just buy a $40 secret lair and get all 5
Exactly.
creators.
Yeah, exactly. So the Judge promo has just kind of lost a little bit of its luster. But I mean, hey, there's as a bonus, they're cool.
One of the coolest things they did at this event, which I think has some room to be tweaked as a concept and as an iterative process, they were just giving away serialized cards in the same vein as they were giving away the Magic 30 packs from Vegas. So if you went to Vegas and you were just physically in that room with a heartbeat and pulse, you had a chance of a Wizards employee just walking up to you and handing you a couple $100 in product. Just like, I like your shirt. Here you go. And then those players could sell the packs, or they could open them. They could do whatever they wanted, but it was just free $100 bills. And they did that again on a much grander scale with a serialized Shivan Dragon.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it says Secret Lair something 295, and I think, correct me if I'm wrong, the reason that the card is 295 copies is because that is the 295th Secret Lair. Which, yeah.
I don't know. I don't think so.
That can't
What are
be
the-
right.
What other significance is the number 295?
That's one a day for a year. I don't think.
I don't think so.
I
I
mean,
guess we'd have to look. I just don't think it is because I remember when it was like 130, and that was not that long ago. So not to say that they couldn't have
Was it
gone completely
165
wild, but-
secret layers ago?
Yeah, well, yeah, it might be.
But
I tried to buy a secret lair for Ben. I wanted to get my kid a Transformer secret lair. There's like 3 different kinds. It was a little confusing.
Anyway, the serialized Shivan Dragons were just given away, and that was another way they decided to subsidize the prize payout for some people. Was we started paying $500 on that Shivan Dragon on Friday. Nobody knows what the real price is.
Ben
Nobody-
Blywise sold 2 or one sealed one for $1,000 today on Twitter.
Mhm.
Yeah, and then by Friday, all the vendors were paying $1,000. Or by Sunday, sorry. By Sunday, by the end of the event, $1,000 was the buy list floor.
That's
So-
bizonkers.
Yeah.
And like I said, I think it's an iterative process. I think there are ways they can improve that in the distribution model. Like, they could have
Well,
announced it publicly and said, like, hey, what do you mean no?
It's like at Disney when they do a little Disney magic for you. I think they call it pixie dust,
What are you
where
talking about?
a Disney employee just comes up to you and makes your day. And it's not part of something you pay for. It's not something they advertise. It's just you get something nice, or if something sad happens to you, they are empowered to go out of their way to do something special for you. That was the idea behind the Shivan Dragons. People who did nice things tended to be handed Shivan Dragons by Wizards. Somebody, a random convention person I was talking to at a booth, told me that they had one, and they got it because they found like a spill on the floor and they cleaned it up, and a Wizards employee just came over and saw them and said, "Hey, thanks for doing that."
Bro, I'm going to spell so much shit in Minneapolis.
Start
I'm not
knocking
trying to
drinks
give
over like the
I'm not
Hulk.
trying to give away the secrets behind anything here. It's not an uncommon.
You just said it on
marketing,
a
like, it's literally been
podcast to
pioneered.
49 listeners, and you're trying to keep it a secret? 49 extra people know about it now.
It's a common marketing thing, but if you advertise that and you just give it away or whatever, it's not the same. It's got to be special and spontaneous, and that's the kind of thing that I think tends to resonate with people who attend conventions.
Well, so
You're gonna make that person's life forever.
So I'll double back on this. They did that for Vegas. Black Lotus tier purchasers got Magic 30 packs, and those packs were able to be sold again back to vendors, and you could just like recoup the entire cost of your entry for your Black Lotus. So it was rich get richer kind of thing, but like you could just spend $750 and then you were pleasantly rewarded with $750 or $1,000 of these quote unquote fake cards. But like they did that, and then they didn't do that this time. So anybody who bought a Black Lotus package for Philly, and again, they like you said, they didn't promise it. There was no, if you do this, wink, wink, you'll get some. And from what I heard, people for this event, the Black Lotus package was very underwhelming.
That seemed to be the feedback, for sure. Especially when you take into account things like not actually walling people off from the command zone, which is, presumably one of the things that you're paying for in the pass. I didn't go to I went to, they did an art gallery. Mike Linneman, shout out to him, was running it this weekend. And I think that was something that was available to certain pass holders. But, they had the giant dance party cosplay thing in Vegas. So yeah, I don't know what there seem to be a couple different levels, right? The people at the top with the Black Lotus pass seem to be upset that there wasn't more exclusives. The whole command zone discussion is a whole, topic in itself, whether or not they should charge for a command zone at this point.
Yeah, I mean, at every when on Twitter, when it had a pretty lengthy thread and well-articulated thread just explaining some of their grievances with the Black Lotus tier and how they're explaining, hey, I know that it is my position here. I am at an income bracket where it is my job to be the whale and subsidize this cost for other players. Like, I get it. I am the target demographic where I can just throw money at this. But you want that target demographic to get the cheese at the end of the maze. You want them to be rewarded. You want them to be incentivized further to just keep turning that money faucet on. And I've heard from multiple Black Lotus people, both across the vendor table and from DMs on Twitter after the event, like they just didn't feel like they were treated appropriately, I guess, for their price tier. I mean, you can call that entitlement or whatever, but like if you pay for the
they
VIP,
paid a lot of money. Yeah,
if you pay the VIP price and you don't feel like a very important person at the end of the event, something has gone wrong with your structure.
Yeah, they paid a lot of money for that. It was like $700.
Yes.
Like that to me, I mean, think about it. It's been a long time since I've just like done one of these for leisure or whatever, right? But you're looking at hundreds of dollars for your hotel, $700 to get in the door. I mean, you're like $1,400 in before you blink to go play Magic for 2.5 days.
And like in Vegas, there were ways. Oh, if you're a Black Lotus, come here. We'll get you in a draft with Mark Rosewater and Gavin Verhey. There's like so many of these, like you said, Disney style, just behind the curtain exclusivity things where it just you just spark that joy, you make that magic happen, and you give the person a lifelong experience.
It works, by the way. We were at Disney World last year, and Ben wanted to go on we were trying to go on a particular ride. The line was very long, and it was raining. It started raining on us, right? It's already kind of like a day. And we were standing there, and it was just like, well, buddy, we can do this or this, right? You got to choose one. And he was like, he was like sad about it. And a Disney employee was behind us. She said, hey, just come with me. And she just took us straight past the line through the exit to the mansion, Haunted Mansion. And we jumped right into the front, right? And that's the kind of, you can't advertise that because then it can't be like, it just has to be a very random thing.
It sets an expectation.
Yeah. So when it comes to like the packs being given out, I think that they're two different things, right? I think that is a very good thing to have at conventions. At the same time, they clearly need to add value to the Black Lotus tier. It seems to me that the best thing for them to possibly do is sell access, right?
Yes.
Like you said, doing events with Gavin and Mark Rosewater, like give them an exclusive Q&A panel, right? Where they can be guaranteed to get their questions answered in a way that general attendees cannot, right? Something like that.
Or even just exclusive swag that's not announced beforehand, like the Magic 30 packs. Yeah. You get like, I don't know, like March of the Machine packs or whatever, and there's only like 100 packs given out total throughout the event, and it's like, oh my god, the set's 3 months early or whatever. That's insane.
Well, think of all the spoilers we would have had at that point. That would have messed up their whole spoiler plan.
Sure, I get it, but you get what I'm saying. Like Commander Masters packs or whatever. I don't know.
That would have been interesting. That would have been a good one. Well, we've got Minneapolis coming up in May, I believe. Yeah. So that's the next one. We'll see we'll see how people iterate. We'll see. I mean, look, this was the internet, as like as someone who spent their weekend monitoring the internet was shockingly happy about things.
Everybody found something to complain about, but like ultimately it was a convention.
It was a convention.
It's just like it's like every other convention. Like, what did you expect? I don't know.
I was thinking about it also. It feels to me that Black Lotus, a very easy value add is giving them early access to artists.
They don't. Yeah, they don't care. They're not trying to make the stuff better after people have already shown they'll pay for it. They're not trying to make Black Lotus more attractive.
Yeah, a
certain number of people are just going to pay for it, and they're going to be like, good.
Oh, well, it was an event. The Pro Tour is back. That's what mattered to me. I
saw the media swag bags were the full Black Lotus swag bag, and that's going to be my procedure for next trip. I'm covering the event for Commander's Herald.
Hey, that's what you should do.
I know.
That's
actually
that's
cover it? No, I'm not going to do that. But I will get a media badge. And then they'll tell me I can't go in the command zone.
But there's media happening in there. I gotta get in there.
Yeah.
There's so much media.
Well, you had to buy that when you paid for your badge. Oh, can I pay for it now? No. But it's 3/4 empty. Yeah.
But can I just walk in? Also, yeah.
That's what I finally did Sunday. I wasn't on site too much Saturday. Sunday was the day I showed up to play cards, and I just snuck in. But like, I don't want to sneak in. I just let me pay. Just let me pay for it. Why didn't you let me pay for it? Like the first couple of times they run an event,
the capitalism has broken Jason's brain here. He won't let me pay for it?
I have the money.
Well, look, Jason, I know what you can pay for, but it's Coalesce Apparel because they were at the event. I saw our Brainstorm Brewery shirts up there.
I saw Jason Cedric the 5 minutes he was in his booth.
Yeah, he was.
He ran downstairs
doing the pro tour, as it turns out.
Me, then ran right back upstairs.
I did hear from an anonymous source that our hoodies were almost sold out. Somebody was asking for Brainstorm Brewery hoodie, and they said, "Oh yeah, I have 2 left here, even in the tote behind me. Like there are only a couple left." So
we did it. We made it through our order. And if you want to get one of those couple,
they didn't print that many. They're like, nobody listens to this podcast. They're like, we got 48 listeners. Should we get 48 hoodies? He's like, no. We'll do an order of 10, and we almost sold out. There are 7 left, so good job.
Hey, 70% sell-through is pretty good, Jason.
I bought the only Coalesce apparel I don't have, which was a Brainstorm Brewery and EDH Rec sticker to go on my quiver.
Perfect. Well, if you too want to get in on Coalesce Apparel, and you should, as it has a growing collection from all your favorite content creators.
Check out this guy, bottom of the quiver, a real place of prominence. Look at that. That's a quality sticker.
It is a good sticker.
You should buy these other ones too. Support everybody.
Use the gift code Brainstorm Brewery, please.
Gift code. Buy EDH
And we also
Rec
have
stuff.
a new design coming out very soon. It has Cass on it. She couldn't be here tonight. She is still recovering from
That picture
Philly,
she took.
but it's a good picture. It's modeled after the original Mercadian Masks Brainstorm. It is I said the original Brainstorm. God, that's not even the original.
The original
Brainstorm.
Mercadian Mask.
Cut that.
No, leave it in.
Don't cut it.
Keep
Don't
it.
cut it.
Keep
I
it.
said cut it, but don't cut it.
DJ forgot about. I say.
I'm fine with my shame being broadcast because I will recover that shame in my breaking bulk pick.
Breaking bulk time. Breaking bulk time. Break.
Oh, yeah, Breaking Bulk. There's so much good stuff.
It's a pick. Breaking bulk. The end.
Yeah, honestly, if I were you and I didn't know a card like that, I would be ashamed. Now let's do Breaking Bulk.
I have a rare from Fallen Empires,
I bet you do.
No, you don't.
and it's like $3.
Is it all? Every rare from Fallen Empires is $3 because they're on the pseudo reserve list, and everything went up this summer because of crypto dicks. Is this a crypto dick card, or is this like a real? Is this like Rainbow Veil?
It's just a crypto dick card.
Yeah, is this Rainbow Veil or is this some bullshit?
Well, Jason, if it is, we wrote about it on Commander's Herald.
I will pull up the EDH Rick stats right now. How about that?
Oh man, I think Rainbow Veil's like more than that.
This card is in 1,000 decks.
Well, that's not a lot.
It is in very specific. It is in very specific kinds of decks. I will say that. It is a green card.
It's not even that many decks for a green card.
What the hell is in that set? No one's supposed to know what cards are in that set. High Tide. Is it a High Tide cycle?
Thorn Thallid.
Wait, you think High Tide's part of a cycle?
I don't know. I don't know what's rare. Is it Spore Flower? Is it
It is.
Thallid Devourer?
You're on the right track.
Elvish Farmer? Thallid Shooter?
No.
Ballads.
Spore Cloud?
Sapperlings.
No.
Spore Flower?
Sapperling Maker.
It is. It is a very like if you type all
Thalanite
those
Monk?
words,
Feral Thallid? What is it, man?
It is Fungal Bloom. You were so close.
Oh, get the...
It's The Last of Us.
Oh, Fungal Bloom is actually a good one.
It is. It is a rare green card. You pay 2 mana for the enchantment, and then you can pay 2 mana to put a spore counter and target fungus, whatever you want.
That's
it's
it.
around $3. Pick
Yeah.
'em.
I
Play it in your Namata, your Slimefoot, your Thelwyn of Havenwood, or your Slimefoot plus
and Squee.
Yeah, that's what it was. Squee, Slimefoot, and Squee.
This game has real jumped the fucking shark when they're putting 3 Elvish Llanowar elves together, or
Yeah,
2 commanders.
Yeah, Jason, what do you think? I'm curious. We'll take a little time out here from Breaking Bulk. What do you think of all the team ups coming in March of the Machines?
I don't really
The
give
te-
a shit
the
about
team-up
Magic the
cards.
Gathering anymore.
Aw, sad day.
I'm gonna build Black Omnath. Like, there's a couple cool things to do, but honestly, like, there's a new set every week, and it's like 70 new legendary creatures, and I can't. I have not been able to keep up with Magic.
Fair
since
enough.
Gathering.
Well, and I guess you were.
So,
you
like,
were-
asking me how I feel about, like, I am miserable as a player, and I'm miserable as a content creator.
Well,
like,
I guess
it's
in your
impossible-
defense, you had a
it's-
busy weekend. It's and then they hit you with more spoilers. On
They,
it.
because, like, Baldur's Gate, we could have spent 6 months digesting. But we didn't get 6 months. We got 15 minutes, and then there was more spoilers. I haven't sat down with Baldur's Gate and looked at all the cards. It's just, when? There's too much to even care about any of it. So yeah, these, like, Slimefoot and Squee could be good, but who gives a shit? Because it'll be obsolete in a month. So
I think
who cares about
the,
anything? I haven't had time. I haven't had time to care about Brothers War. So let me get caught up on that, and then I'll tell you how I feel
Yeah.
about.
I think the CEO said that they're going to slow. They heard the feedback. They've heard the feedback about the product releases, and they gave some guidance.
That's weird
because
because I thought I was being hysterical and I needed to, like, tough it out and stop being such a crybaby. That's what people said to me on Twitter, and yet it turns out maybe I wasn't wrong. I don't know. It's
Well, yeah,
weird.
they said they're going to slow. They said they're going to space things out a little bit, and in fact, they expect lower year-over-year growth as a result of this. So, yeah, in theory, that means they're actually, literally here putting their money where their mouth is, and will slow it down slightly. But We'll see, I guess, right? Because like, what does that even mean if you can't keep up with everything? Does slowing it down mean you're just in at the upper limit of your keeping up? But like, once you go past the threshold, as it were, the inflection point, anything after that is just noise. So we'll see if it lowers down to a level Jason can actually jump back in. All right, I'll jump in next. I have a Kamigawa Neon Dynasty, a very fun set. By the way, following up on what Jason said, we had a pro tour. At the pro tour, we had a conversation with several members of Wizards and quizzed them on what sets were in standard. Fair. It led to, between pros and Wizards of the Coast employees, about a 10-minute discussion, and I don't think that the correct answer was arrived at. Stuff like, what about Kaldheim? Is Strixhaven legal?
Nobody
It was certainly
knows.
something.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it was great. But Kamigawa Neon Dynasty was one of the sets in there, and this I don't think is too difficult. It's a uncommon colorless card.
From when?
The one that like involves discarding cards and replaying.
Nope. And containment construct, I believe, is
Yeah,
what that is.
that was
And
my
no,
guess.
Yeah.
that is not it. It's a Neon Dynasty, Jason.
Is it a
colorless
is it a-
uncommon?
colorless common? So
Is
it's
it-
not the reliquary thing. or whatever?
Colorless uncommon.
Colorless uncommon. So it is the reliquary thing. Roadside reliquary?
Nope.
And it's
Is it the?
this is
I
the
was
other
gonna guess
land?
the land. Yeah, I'm guessing the what's it called? The tribal land.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, secluded. It has a boring name. Actually.
Nobody's
Secluded
playing
Courtyard.
Roadside Reliquary, which is crazy. Like, how often do you not have an artifact and an enchantment on like turn?
Is that where you
6
get to draw 2 cards?
Yeah,
Right. That card is legit cool. As a matter of fact,
I don't get it. I played in landfall decks. You just, if one of those artifacts is Crucible of Worlds, then you just need an enchantment to be a cheater. Like, I don't understand.
Ooh,
I don't know, man.
I see.
What do I know? I just know that I
I
have
see.
a sick breaking bulk. I'm gonna get you guys with this one.
But yeah, so to follow up, secluded courtyard is $2. Just so if you come across, there are actually very good hits in Kamigawa Neon Dynasty at this mark.
Unless
Containment
you bought
contract's actually
collector
only 50
boosters
cents,
and you're
but
looking through those cards now, there are not a lot of.
hope that you have your Ottawaras, I guess.
Yeah, I guess.
That's about it. All right, Jason, you've teased, you've hyped up the breaking bulk. Let's hear
3
it.
printings. The first one was an 8th edition where it was common. No, uncommon.
I was gonna say eighth edition had original cards.
Oh, maybe it was. Okay, so I think the first printing was Portal 2 then, the year before.
Jeez.
So Portal 2, 8th and 9th, and this is a $3 uncommon.
Gifts of Estates.
It's a black creature.
Does
8th edition black creature.
it was in Portal? Is that a horsemanship set?
Portal 2. Portal 3
they
was the
wouldn't have put
horsemanship set.
They
Portal
wouldn't have
2
put
is the one with
horsemanship in
That's
a-
what I was trying to figure out.
Well,
What
they
could
wouldn't
make
have put
it-
horsemanship in a core set, Corbin.
No, I understand. That's why I was trying to figure out what else. Like trying to place the set though.
It doesn't have a keyword ability.
8th edition.
It's a creature.
Is it? Oh, it's like 5-minute 3/3 ETB drain 3. Is that it?
Nope.
No.
I do not know the answer.
Dakmore Princess or something. Dakmore or something.
It has a power and toughness format they don't use anymore where it's a star instead of an X.
Card was printed.
It's not
Card was
Revnik, 'cause
printed.
that was 7th edition too, I think.
Well, this
Printed too
this
long
only has
ago.
a star for power. It has 1 toughness.
Plague Rats?
It's-
Swarm of Rats.
Swarm of Rats. Okay.
Oh,
That was a good one.
well, that makes sense. I can.
I have
rats
bulked
in
so many of
Commander,
these
right?
out over the years, and now they're just like 350, especially the Portal 2 ones.
Yeah, that's a good pick.
Yeah.
And you compare that to, it's worth 10 times what Pestilence Rats. You know, which,
Yeah.
figure it out.
Figure it out. Fair enough. All right. Well,
Has that card really not been reprinted since 9th edition?
Yeah,
Jeez.
but Pestilence Rats has never been reprinted ever.
No, I get that, but like the second Swarm of Rats gets a reprint, that card is like dead forever, and it's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, but
But,
I'm
like,
sure that's what they
if
said when
it's
it got
not-
reprinted in 9th edition. Although back when 9th edition was out, everyone's like, I did Pact of Power by trading a Pearl Dragon for a foil Masticore.
I ran into somebody doing Pact of Power last weekend. Somebody was still doing it.
You know what Pact of Power
Yeah.
is? You're begging 100 strangers to give you $1.
Yep. Somebody
Is
came up
this-
to our booth with a booster pack, and they said, "Will you give me money for any of these bulk commons and foils?" And I said, and they're like, "Oh, but I'm doing a Pact to Power," and I was like, "Nah, man."
Still no friend. So the person I ran into is giving away the card at the end of it. So that at least made it better. They were up to, they had I think probably like $500-$600 worth of cards that they were up to. They were on the way.
Craziness.
There you go. And doing a Pact of Power these days, if you do it like slowly, probably pretty rough. There's some quite volatile card value.
Yeah.
I think that was one of my first articles on brainstormbrewery.com was stop doing Pact to Power, and that was like 2013.
Yeah, it's been played out for a minute. That's for sure.
One guy trades a paperclip into a house, and everyone loses their goddamn mind.
I at least like the giving it away at the yeah, that was nice.
I would say I was
We'll give
going
him
to,
that.
but then no.
Yeah, that's the play, right? Is just lie. Be like, I'm doing a
Yeah.
Pact to Power, but it's for charity.
Yeah, I mean, if somebody tells me they're doing something for charity and I have no reason to distrust them, I believe them. Like, that's my thing. So if they get me, they get me. Not that I had anything to trade or whatever, but that would work on me, I have to say.
Radically humanitarian, Corbin Hostler, everyone.
All right, one more thing we want to talk about. I heard you all like master sets, and do you remember when they did the last master set? Like they said this was going to be the last one.
What was the last Master set? Was Double Masters 2022, I think?
I just remember, I think it was Graveyard Masters that eventually became
Ultimate Masters was supposed to
Ultimate
be the last
Masters.
Masters, because it was Graveyard Masters,
right.
name
But
shifted
then
to Ultimate Masters,
Mhm.
add some cards, keep the set symbol, last Master set of all time, and then I think Double Masters 1 and 2 are the only ones since then. Is that correct?
I don't know. I mean, for what it's worth, I guess it probably has been about 5 years since then, at least. So it was the last one for a while. But coming soon, Commander Master.
Our sets with Commander in the name and our sets with Masters in the name finally matched on Tinder. Thank God.
So what's interesting is having Commander Masters, but then having Commanders Masters Commander Precons.
Isn't like every Master set just always been a Commander Master set for the past 15 years or whatever? Like they're the ones that make doubling season $20. Like those are all Commander Master sets, even from Tarmogoyf era.
More or less, I guess, right?
They're just putting a name on it now and making it draftable to be Commander draftable for $8 a pack or something.
Which is fine. I just think
That's
it's kind of
fine.
funny that they're selling, like, presumably you are using your Commander Masters decks to supplement your Commander Masters boosters to supplement your Commander decks. And it feels like having precons on top of that is kind of like, so it's going to, I guess it's if it's an original set, then it's not just reprints. But
Well,
yeah,
the-
anyways, I just thought we'd hit on another Masters series coming out.
So the precons for that set do have new cards, is what they said on Twitter.
Oh, okay.
The precons have new cards, but the main set is entirely reprints.
Okay, fair enough. So, I don't know. I've only ever done, I think, the first Commander Legends. Well, like, Commander Legends was a Commander Master set, right? Like, come
Yeah.
on. But I've only drafted it one time, so I'm interested to see how the experience has evolved. I didn't love the format that they basically, like, how the cards worked after you drafted it, right? The games tended to be very incredibly slow and grindy. So we'll see if this is a better experience.
Did you play? So you didn't play Baldur's Gate. I don't know if they fixed that because they had a similar issue with like Conspiracy 1 and 2, where Conspiracy
Correct.
1 was very bogged
Yeah.
down, and Conspiracy 2 was like just go take the Monarch token, you idiot, and then like
Yeah.
it was a much better format. I don't know. I haven't gotten to play Limited in a very, very long time, but I will say I already have a couple grievances with Commander Masters. The first one is I really wish they would stray away from using etched foil as a cool modifier. I don't know what the data they have on it is from like focus groups or anything of that sort. But as somebody who like automation is here in the industry, like everyone can scan their phones and like scan a card and get its price. Etched foils don't work with scanners. They don't work with sorting machines. They are just very, very clear process exceptions at all levels of price. Like it's not like the only etched foils are $100+ where it's not an issue. It's really an issue when you have $5 to $7 etched foils that people are opening and they become very difficult to buy because you don't know if you're supposed to pay 1 or 5, and that's a big deal in a buy. So using etched foils in that way for all those cards is very frustrating, and they continue to do that. They previewed Jeweled Lotus as one of the cards that has that. And then just reprinting Jeweled Lotus already feels very frustrating to me as a vendor. I'm not owning any. I don't own any. I actually was very lucky, and I sold all my Jeweled Lotuses in Philly to the Japanese vendors, so I got out and dodged that bullet. But I do wish that they would keep certain, I guess, Holy Grail cards as Holy Grails, especially when they're not radically necessary for the format. Like, I think Jeweled Lotus being $150 is fine, and, like, reprinting it aggressively can ruin the collectability of the previous versions of that card. Like, Extended Art Jeweled Lotus foils were, like, $700 or $800, and now they're not going to be that, and I just wish that, I've said on this cast multiple times, I like it when those Holy Grails are in booster packs.
Yeah, I mean, I hear you on that. I think that, I don't know. I mean, Jeweled Lotus is an interesting one because it's clearly designed for a very certain type of commander game and or play group. And you're right. It doesn't like Radic, like you mentioned, it's not important. So it felt like a card that really appealed to people who didn't mind paying a bunch of money for a card like, I guess is the way I
think the format is worse when that card is $20.
Probably true. But
Same
I mean,
with Mana Crypt, right? Like Mana Crypt, like Commander's a worse format if Mana Crypt is $20, and Mana Crypt gets banned if Mana Crypt is $20.
Yeah, I mean, Soul Ring exists, and Commander's a better format without Soul Ring too. But
right,
here we
Soul
are.
Ring is the brainstorm of Commander.
Yeah. I agree with all these points. All right, well, let's move on
All
to pick
of
of the
them.
week.
Every point. Ridiculous. All right. I'll go
JJ,
first.
add in something extremely offensive that I've deep fake my voice to be something
Oh,
really
no.
offensive, and then have Corbin agree with that.
Oh no!
But not something like it has to be something cancelable for Corbin, but not for me. It's a fine line. To walk.
Everybody in Oklahoma went and saw Magic Mike, and it made them feel funny. And they started attacking critical race theory when they got home from the theater.
Yes.
Great. Look what I've done to myself.
That's what
It's
they
time
said. That's what they said
for
when they
pick
got
of the
home from
week.
seeing
No.
Magic Mike.
Oh my gosh! It's time for pick of the week, people.
Dang, I got boner juice on my sweatpants.
Pick of the week, pick of the week, pick of the week. Time for the pick of the week.
Oh, all right. I'm gonna hop in first here. Just please move us along from that. I'm gonna hit you with a standard card though. That was pretty popular and pioneered the Pro Tour over the weekend. Reckoner Bankbuster. This card has a lot of words, but essentially it's a 2-mana equipment that draws cards. I'm sorry, 2-mana vehicle that you can draw cards with, and then later it becomes, 4/4 vehicle. So it was in a lot of the mid-rangey Pioneer decks. Is there's a very good value card. It's had a run in standard. So it's on its way up from $2 to $3 right now. It probably is going to hit 5 at least. So keep an eye on your Reckoner Bankbusters. I think if it really hits in Pioneer, you can see a short term, $10 on this. But I do think at $3 as it keep climbing up.
I will stamp that with a C as acceptable. Borderline
it.
acceptable, even needs improvement maybe. But I have a better.
Okay. All right, Activision Blizzard over there.
My 7 out of 10, too much water. My pick is $150 at the moment, and it's gonna be $300 on the day that it spikes. And it's Sliver Queen.
Oh man.
The day it's reprinted, you mean?
One of the decks in Commander Masters is Slivers. That's it.
Uh-huh.
That's the tweet. Send button. If you can actually go on TCG Players sold listings right now, and if you scroll back further, Sliver Queen maybe sells like 1 to 2 copies a day, if that. Roughly 20 have sold today. So there's demand. People saw that preview and were like, I need my Sliver Queen. Some of them were HP copies that were in like the 130s. A few of them were near mint copies, the 260. And I think that there are some on TCG right now for 150. Or if you just go through like Card Market or trade into them some other way, you will not be disappointed to own a Sliver Queen in like 3 to 4 months. You just won't, especially if you got in at 150.
I think you're. That's not like an exciting pick because the buy-in's so high, but you're right. It is just going to make money. It's
Magic, making money in Magic is not exciting, Corbin. Like nobody likes bulking.
Well, you know
out
what
their...
I mean. You know what you're not going to. You can't go buy a bunch of them for 50 cents and then have it 10x. But like,
I understand the dopamine of holding a brick of Magic cards. I do. I get it. So
all right,
the
Jason.
The solution is to use your profits from Coalesce and buy a brick of Sliver Queens.
Yeah.
Use your MTG stocks premium knowledge,
yep.
and just use the funds you've accumulated from last year's picks of the week, and use the money that you were going to give to the IRS during tax season. Just put that. That's fine. You can deal with that later. Use that money and buy Sliver Queens with that, and then you can pay the IRS more money later on. You like that?
That's churning, I think
that's also not financial advice. Don't potentially not do that. Legally, I'm not telling you to do that, but also,
oh my gosh,
I'm not
Jason,
telling you to not do that.
Jason, tell people what they should do. What are you looking at for pick of the week?
Dream Halls.
Dream Halls.
Dream Halls is like like 55% of its peak price, which was a crypto dick price, but still it's 55% of that. And it goes in the Omnath deck, where you want to have a bunch of free spells because everything has to be 3 or more colors to get value from Omnath. Just play Dream Halls. Also, as a bonus pick, Braid of Fire seems real fucking nuts in a deck where you can't lose your mana. So I'm looking at both of those cards for Omnath.
I love Dream Halls, and every like commander powerful reserved list card that is under 50. I have always loved all those, like Treachery, like Volrath Stronghold, Yavimaya Hollow, Dream Halls, all of those like 90s block powerful cards that are just locked out of being printed forever. Love them.
Yeah, I think you're onto something with that in general, but I think Volrath Stronghold is. I decided to look it up when you said that. It's looking pretty reasonable too as a card that could come along.
Dream Halls does more work than $100 cards. I don't know how to. It's a up Magic card, and people were playing it in Legacy with Conflux back in the day, where you would Conflux for a bunch of different charms and cast free spells all day. It was amazing.
I remember in 2009, right before I started to get into competitive Magic, I built that deck on like some weird ass Magic online deck builder, and I thought I broke a format. This is before I knew like what
Dream Halls card is good.
I was like, oh, Dream Halls, you can do things with Conflux, and then you can get you can get more Confluxes, and then you can do all the and then like I was like, oh wait, somebody already did this, and I started like find out what deck lists were. That was one of my like breadcrumb moments to get into competitive Magic, was learning that Dream Halls could go get Conflux and just following that trail of evidence. That was one of my intros into competitive Magic.
I mean, not a bad one. It was a fun deck. And this was a fun podcast, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for if you're a patron who supports us at patreon.com/BSB. We appreciate it, and we appreciate your patience as we get this episode out to you a little later. We all needed a day to recover from the event. But everybody, thank you so much for listening to the show. Go check out our sponsors, MTG Stocks and Coalesce Apparel. It's Brainstorm Brewery. We'll see you next week.